Tonight
Yes.
tonight we are reading the Baltimore Waltz by Paula Vogel. Tonight playing Anna,
Liz Bove,
playing Carl,
Kevin Bain.
playing the third man, the doctor, and every other role.
Et al. David Moseder.
The Baltimore Waltz, Scene 1. 3 distinct areas on stage. Anna, stage right, in her trench coat, clutching the Berlitz pocket guide to Europe. Carl, stage left, wearing pajamas and a blazer. The third man, doctor, in his lab coat with stethoscope, is center. Anna reads from her book. Her accents are execrable.
help me please, Dutch. Can't du mich helpen alsjeblieft? There's nothing I can do. French. I have no memory. Okay. Il n'y a rien à faire. Where are the toilets? Wo sind die Toiletten? I've never been abroad. It's not that I don't want to go, but the languages terrify me. I was traumatized by a junior high school French teacher, and after that it was a lost cause. I think that's the reason I went into elementary education. Words like brioche, bidet, Bildungsroman, Razor-swept. Oh, I want to go. Carl, oh, he's my brother. You'll meet him shortly. He desperately wants to go. But then he can speak 6 languages. He's the head librarian of literature and language at the San Francisco Public. It's a very important position. The thought of 1,800-year-old houses perched on the side of mountains and rivers whose names you've only seen in the Sunday Times crossword puzzle, all of that is exciting. But I'm not going without him. He's read so much. I couldn't possibly go without him. You see, I've never been abroad, unless you count Baltimore, Maryland.
Good morning, boys and girls. It's Monday morning, and it's time for Reading Hour with Uncle Carl once again, here at the North Branch of the San Francisco Public Library. This is going to be a special reading hour. It's my very last reading hour with you. Friday will be my very last day with the San Francisco Public Library as children's librarian. Why? Do any of you know what a pink slip is? It means I'm going on a paid leave of absence for 2 weeks. Shelley Bizio, the branch supervisor, have given me my very own pink slip. I got a pink slip because I wear this. I want you all to take the pink construction paper in front of you and take your scissors and cut out pink triangles. There's tape at every table so you can wear them too. Make some for mom and dad and for your brothers and sisters. Very good. Very good. Fabio, oh, that's a beautiful pink triangle. Say hey. Now, before we read our last story together, I thought we might have a sing-along. Your parents can join in if they'd like to. Oh, but don't be shy. Let's do Here We Go Around the Mulberry Bush. Remember that one? Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush so early in the morning. This is the way we pick our nose, pick our nose, pick our nose. This is the way we pick our nose so early in the morning. This is the way we go on strike, go on strike, go on strike. This is the way we go on strike early in the... What, Mrs. Bizio? I may leave immediately. I do not have to wait until Friday to collect unemployment. Why, thank you, Mrs. Bizio. Well, boys and girls, Mrs. Bizio will take over now. Bear with her. She's personality impaired. I want you to be very good and remember me. I'm leaving for an immediate vacation with my sister on the East Coast, and I'll think of you as I travel. Remember to wear those pink triangles. I'm going. You don't have to be rude. They enjoyed it. We'll take it up with the union. In a language you might understand, up pay hours yay.
It's the language that terrifies me.
Lesson number 1, subject position. I, je, ich. I'm sorry, je regrette, et tu me lied.
But we decided to go when the doctor gave his verdict.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing we can do.
But what?
How long?
Explain it to me very slowly so I so I can understand. Excuse me. Could you tell me again?
There are exudative and proliferative inflammatory alterations of the endocardium consisting of necrotic debris, fibrinoid material, and disintegrating fibroblastic cells.
Oh, gee, sweet Jesus.
It may be acute or subacute, caused by various bacteria, streptococci, staphylococci, enterococci, gonococci, a gram-negative bacilli, etc. It may be due to other microorganisms, of course, but there's a high mortality rate with or without treatment, and there is usually a rapid destruction and metastasis.
Anna,
I'm right here, darling. Right here.
could you explain it very slowly?
Also known as Loeffler's syndrome, i.e., eosinophilia resulting in fibroblastic thickening, persistent tachycardia, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, serious effusions into the pleural cavity with edema. It may be Brugia malaria or Wucheteria bancrofti, also known as Weingarten syndrome, often seen with effusions, either exudate or transudate.
Carl.
I'm right here,
Carl.
darling, right here.
It's the language that terrifies me.
Medical Straight Talk, Part 1.
So, you're telling me that you really don't know?
I'm afraid that medical science has only a small foothold in this area. But of course, it would be of great benefit to our knowledge if you would consent to observation here at Johns Hopkins.
Why? Running out of laboratory rats?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I can't do that. Can you tell me at least how it was contracted?
Well, we're not sure yet. It's only a theory at this stage, but one that seems in great favor at the World Health Organization. We think it comes from the old occultus ornatus.
The toilet seats?
Toilet seats? My God, Mother was right. She always said.
And never, ever, in any circumstances, in bus stations.
Toilet seats? Cut down in the prime of youth by a toilet seat?
Anna, may I call you Anna? You teach school, I believe.
Yes, first grade. What does that have?
Ah, yes. We're beginning to see a lot of this in elementary schools. Anna, I may call you Anna, with assurances of complete confidentiality. We need to ask you very specific questions about the body fluids and body functions. As mature adults, as scientists and educators. To speak frankly, when you needed to relieve yourself, where did you make wah-wah?
There's a faculty room, but why? How?
You never, ever used the Johnny in your classroom?
Well, maybe once or twice. There's a lock, and Robbie Matthews always tries to barge in. Sometimes I just can't get the time to. Surely you're not suggesting that.
Did you use the facilities in your classroom?
Is that a crime? When you've got to go, you've got to.
I can't believe that my students would transmit something like that.
You have no idea. 5-year-olds can be deadly. It seems to be an fiction so far of single school teachers with children of their own develop an immunity to ATD, acquired toilet disease.
I see. Why hasn't anybody heard of this disease?
Well, first of all, the Center for Disease Control doesn't wish to inspire an all-out panic in communities. Secondly, we think education on this topic is the responsibility of the NEA, not the government. And if word of this pestilence gets out inappropriately, the PTA is going to be all over the school system demanding mandatory testing of every toilet seat in every lavatory. It's kindling for a political disaster.
I want to ask you something confidentially, something that my brother doesn't need to hear. What's the danger of transmission?
There's really no danger of anyone in the immediate family. You must use precautions.
Because what I want to know is, can you transmit this thing by doing, what exactly do you mean by precautions?
Well, I guess you should do what your mother always told you. You know, wash your hands before and after going to the bathroom, and never lick paper money or coins in any currency.
So there's no danger to anyone by, what I mean, doctor, is that I can't infect anyone by...
Just use precautions.
Because in whatever time this school teacher has left, I intend to fuck my brains out.
Which means in whatever time is left, she can fuck her brains out.
Scene 3, Carl and the doctor.
I'll tell you what, if Sandra Day O'Connor sat on just one infected potty, the media would be clamoring to do articles on the ATD. If just one grandchild of George Bush caught this thing during toilet training, that would be the last we'd hear about the space program. Why isn't someone doing something? I'm sorry, I know you're one of the converted. You're doing, well, everything you can. I'd like to ask you something in confidence, something my sister doesn't need to hear. Is there any hope at all?
Well, I suppose there's always hope.
Any experimental drugs, treatments?
Well, they're trying all sorts of things abroad. Our hands are tied here by the NIH and the FDA. You understand. There's a long shot avenue to explore. Nothing, you understand, that I personally endorse. But there is an 80-year-old urologist overseas who has been working in this field for some time.
We'll try anything.
Name is Dr. Torderschein. He's somewhat unorthodox, outside the medical community in Vienna. It's got to cost you. Mind you, this is not an endorsement.
Anna.
Oh, I thought I wasn't in that scene. I'm sorry. One moment. Shit. You hear the doctor through a long distance corridor. Your ears are functioning, but the mind is numb. You try to listen as
You're fine.
you try to, yeah. You try to listen as you swim towards his sentences in the fluorescent light in his office, but you don't believe it at first. This is how I'd like to die, with dignity. No body secretions like Merle Oberon in Wuthering Heights, with a somewhat becoming flush and a transcendental gaze. Luminous eyes piercing the veil of a mortal existence. The windows are open to the fresh breeze blowing off the moors. Oh, and the violins in the background would be nice too.
Scene 4, the phone call.
Lesson number 2, basic dialogue, the phone call. Hello, I would like to speak to Dr. Lyme, please.
Zugeding, Sie, bitte, Operator, hello, guten Tag. Kann ich bitte mit Herr Lime sprechen? Harry, we get his dear. Listen, I can hear you. No, I'm in Baltimore. Yes, not since Hopkins. No, there is something up. No, dear boy, that hasn't been up in a long time. No, seriously, it's my sister, ATD.
ATD? Jesus, that's tough, old man. You've got to watch where you sit these days. She's a sweet kid. Yeah. Wait a second. Inge baby. Ein Bier, bitte, baby. Yeah. You too, baby. Okay, Dr. Torreschwing. Yes, you might say I know him, but don't tell anyone I said that. There's also a new drug they've got over here, black market. I might be able to help you. I said might, but it's going to cost you. Do you still have the rabbit?
I'll bring the rabbit.
Good. A friend of mine will be in touch. And listen, old man, if anyone asks you, you don't know me. I'll see you in a month. You know where to find me.
Click.
Scene 5.
Lesson number 3. Pronouns and the possessive case. I, you, he, she, and it. Me, you, there. Yours, mine, and ours.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing he, she, or it can do. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing they can do. So, what are we going to do?
Start packing, dear sister.
Europe? You mean it?
We'll mosey about France and Germany and then work our way down to Vienna.
What about your job?
It's only a job.
It's a very important job. Head of the entire San Francisco public.
They'll hold my job for me. I'm due a leave.
Oh, honey, can we afford this?
It's only money.
It's your money.
It's our money.
Scene 6.
Lesson 4. Present tense of faire. What are we going to do? Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire?
So, what are we going to do?
We'll see this doctor in Vienna.
Dr. Todeswochenlein?
We have to try.
A urologist?
He's working on a new drug.
A European neurologist?
But what options do we have?
Wait a minute. What are his credentials? Who is this guy?
He was trained at the Allgemeines Krankenhaus during the Empire.
Yeah, just what was he doing from 1938 to 1945? Research?
It's best not to ask too many questions. There are people who swear by his work.
What's his specialty?
Well, actually, he's a practitioner of Europosia.
He writes poems about urine?
No, he drinks it.
I'm not going.
Let's put off judgment until we arrange a consultation. My God, you're so messy. Look at how neat my suitcase is in comparison. You'll never find a thing in there.
I refuse to drink my own piss for medical science. What are you doing?
We can't leave Bunny behind.
What is a grown man like you doing with a stuffed rabbit?
I can't sleep without Bunny.
I didn't know you slept with stuffed animals.
There's a lot you don't know about me.
Scene 7.
Lesson 5. Basic dialogue. At the airport. We are going to Paris. What time does our flight leave? Nous allons à Paris. À quelle heure départ notre vol?
The third man quickly becomes an airport security guard.
Okay, next. Please remove your keys and all other metallic items. Place all belongings on the belt. Next.
Oh, wait. I need your suitcase.
Hey!
It was a mess to begin with. There.
What, are you having an anxiety attack?
You hold it.
What is wrong with you?
X-rays are bad for Bunny.
Oh.
Next. Please remove all metallic objects, keys, eyeglasses, gold fillings.
Go on. You first.
Metallic objects.
Anna passes through holding the stuffed rabbit. Carl sighs, relieved. Carl passes through. The airport security guard stops him.
Huh?
The
Metallic objects.
Hey, okay, Bunny.
Scene 8.
Okay, Bunny. Paris, here we come.
Scene 8.
At
The third
the
man
hotel.
goes back to the third man.
At the hotel. Lesson 6. Direct pronouns. I am tired, and my sister...
Leçon. Pronouns. Complements direct. Je suis fatigué. Et ma soeur. Elle se regarde dans la glace.
The first separation. Your first sense of loss. You were 5. Your brother was 7. Your parents would not let you sleep in the same bed anymore. They removed you to your own bedroom. You were too old, they said. But every now and then, when they turned off the lights and went downstairs, when the dark scared you, you would rise and go to him. And he would let you nestle under his arm, under the covers where you would fall asleep, breathing in the scent of your own breath in his 7-year-old body.
Come to bed, sweetie. Bunny and I are waiting. We're going to be jet lagged for a while.
Anna continues to stare in the mirror.
I don't know where we are.
Top of 19.
Oh. It doesn't show yet.
No one can tell. Let's get some sleep, honey.
I don't want anyone to know.
It's not a crime. It's an illness.
I don't want anyone to know.
It's your decision. Just don't tell anyone. What you do for a living?
Anna joins Carl in the bed. He holds her hand.
Well, there's one good thing about traveling in Europe and about dying.
And what's that?
I get to sleep with you again.
Medical Straight Talk Part 2.
The third man becomes a public health official.
Here at the Department of Health and Human Services, we are announcing Operation Squat. There's no known cure for ATT right now, and we are acknowledging the urgency of this dread disease by recognizing it as our 82nd national health priority. Right now, ATT is the 4th major cause of death of single school teachers ages 24 to 40, behind school buses, lockjaw, and playground accidents. The best policy until a cure can be found is of education and prevention. If you are in the high-risk category, single elementary school teachers, classroom aides, custodians, and playground drug pushers, follow these simple guides. Do use the facilities in your own home before departing for school. Do use the facilities in your own home as soon as you return from school. Do hold it. Don't eat meals in public restrooms. Don't flush lavatory equipment and then suck your digits. It's absolutely necessary to relieve yourself at work. Please remember the Department of Health and Human Services ATD slogan, do squat, don't sit.
Scene 10, accordion playing a song like La Vie en Rose. Anna and Carl stroll.
Of course, the left bank has always been a haven for outcasts, foreigners and students since the time that Abelard fled the Ile de la Cité to found the university here.
Oh, look, is that the Eiffel Tower? It looks so phallic.
And it continued to serve as a haven for the avant-garde of the 20s, the American expatriate community that could no longer afford Montparnasse.
My God, they really do smoke Gauloise here.
And of course, the dads and surrealists who set up camp after World War I returned from Switzerland.
Are we being followed?
Is your medication making you paranoid? Now, over here is the famous spot where Gertrude supposedly said to her brother Leo,
I know. God is the answer. What is the question? I'm not imagining it. That man has been trailing us from the Boulevard Saint-Michel.
you getting hungry?
I'm getting tired.
Well, let's just whip around the corner to the Café Saint-Michel, where Hemingway, after an all-night bout, threw up his shrimp heads all over Scott's new suede shoes, which really was a movable feast.
The third man is holding an identical stuffed rabbit and looks at them.
Carl, look. That man over there.
So, they have stuffed rabbits over here too. Well, let's go.
Why is he following us? He's got the same...
It's your imagination. How about a little déjeuner?
Scene 11.
It was a simple bistro affair by French standards. He has a little Prince Olaf, she's le boeuf à la mode, a simple dish of haricots verts and a médoc to accompany it all. He barely touches me. She mopped the sauces with bread, and the meal progressed. Anna thought of the lunch she packed back home. For the past 10 years, hunched over the faculty room at McCormick Elementary. This is what Anna ate. On the Mondays, pressed or shipped chicken sandwiches with mayonnaise on wheat. On Tuesdays, sake tuna sandwiches. On Wednesdays, Velveeta cheese and bologna. On Thursdays, Gruyere pressed chicken with now stale white bread. On Fridays, a Velveeta and tuna. She always has a small wax envelope of carrot sticks or celery and a can of Diet Pepsi. Anna, as she ate in the bistro, wept. What could she know of love?
Why are you weeping?
It's just so wonderful.
Oh, you're a goose.
I've wasted over 30 years on convenience food.
Everything all right?
Oh God, yes, it's wonderful.
My sister would like to see the dessert trays.
Who is that man? Do you know him?
No, I've never seen him before.
The third man brings the stuffed rabbit out of his trench coat.
He's flashing his rabbit at you.
Excuse me, I think I'll go to Les Toilettes.
Carla, be careful. Don't sit.
Carl exits. The third man waits a few seconds, looks at Anna, and then follows Carl without expression.
What is it to do with those rabbits?
A split second later, the garçon re-enters with the dessert tray. Anna ogles him.
Okay. We have le crème flamboyant, polonais, un bavarois à l'orange. Et ici, we have une charlotte, mockalof, or framboise. Specialty is the gâteau de crêpes à la Normandie. What would mademoiselle like?
Oh, yes.
Vous êtes américaine? This is your first trip to Paris?
Yes.
And you do not speak at all French?
No.
Bon, would you like la spécialité de la maison?
Scene 12.
Exercise La Carte, La Spécialité de la Maison. Back at the hotel, Anna sampled the garçon's specialty de la maison while her brother browsed the Louvre. Jean-Baptiste Camille Corot lived from 1796 to 1875. Although he began his career by studying in the classical tradition, his later paintings reveal the influence of the Italian style.
Oh, yes.
Oh, oui.
He traveled extensively around the world, and in the Salon of 1827, his privately lauded techniques were displayed in public.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
Mais oui.
Before the Academy had accepted realism, Corot's progressive paintings, his clear, slighted observations of nature revealed a fresh, almost sprightly quality of light, tone, and composition.
Yes, that's right. Faster.
Plus vite.
Faster.
Encore. Plus vite.
Wait.
Attends.
His simplicity and his awareness of color brought a fresh wind into the stage academy.
Maintenant.
Lower. Faster. Lower.
Bas. Plus vite. Plus bas.
He was particularly remembered and beloved for his championing of cause of younger artists with more experimental techniques, bringing the generosity of his advancing reputation to their careers.
Yes,
Je.
In art, as in life, some things need no translation.
Galoise.
For those of you who are interested, in the next rooms are some stunning works by Delacroix.
Scene 13. Back at the hotel.
Lesson 7, basic vocabulary, parts of the body.
Carl, slightly out of the next scene, watches them. Anna sits up in bed. The garçon is asleep beneath the street.
I did read one book, once in French, La Petite Prince, lying here, watching him sleep. I look at his breast and remember the rose with its single pathetic thorn for protection. And here, he plucked red nipple, lying poor and vulnerable on top of his blustering breastplate. It's really so sweet about men.
She kisses the garçon's breast. The garçon stirs.
Encore.
What is the word in French for this?
For un homme, la scène. For une femme, le mamelle.
Le sein?
Oui, le scène.
She
And
kisses his neck.
this?
Ooh, le cou.
Et ici?
Bon, décolleté.
And this?
Oh, s'il vous plaît. I am tickling there. Couille.
Cool?
No, cuil. Le cou is something much different. Ici, c'est le col.
Oh, yes, that's very different.
We sometimes call these also le quatrième état, the fourth estate.
Really? Because they enjoy being scooped?
Well,
Bien sûr.
And this?
Ah, Monteur Eiffel. I call it aussi my Charles de Gaulle.
Whoa!
Grandfather called his Napoleon.
I see. I guess it runs in the family.
Oui. Grammaire. Qu'est-ce que c'est le mot anglais? Her con here, ici. Do you know what I am meaning?
You're making yourself completely clear.
We called hers the Waterloo de mon grand-père.
And this?
Ooh, non, there is no word en français. Pas du tout.
For this, there must be.
No, only the Germans have a word for that.
Carl enters and
Hello,
casually
Doc.
converses with Anna. Startled, the garçon covers himself with the sheet.
Hello, darling. Are you feeling better?
Yes, much. I needed to lie down.
The garçon carefully
How was-
rises from the bed and takes his clothing from Carl, which is holding him out. He keeps cautiously
How
staying
was the
dressed.
Louvre? How was the Louvre?
Oh, Anna, I'm so sorry you missed it. The paintings of David were amazing. The way his paintbrush embraced the body, it was just incredible to stand there and to see them in the flesh.
Ah, yes, in the flesh.
Well, sweetie, it's been a thoroughly rewarding day for both of us. I'm turning in. How about you?
Yes, I'm tired. Here, I warmed the bed for you.
Oh,
Garçon, l'addition?
Merci beaucoup.
Anna blows him a kiss. The garçon takes a few steps out of the scene as Carl climbs into the bed. Scene 14. The garçon now becomes the third man yet again.
Anna has a difficult time sleeping. She is afflicted with night thoughts. According to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, there are 6 stages the terminal patient travels in the course of her illness. The first stage, denial and isolation.
The third man stays in the hotel room and watches Carl and Anna in the bed. They are sleeping when Anna sits upright.
I feel so alone. The ceiling is pressing down on me. I can't breathe. I can't believe I'm dying. Only at night. Only at night. In the morning, when I open my eyes, I feel absolutely well, without a body. And then the thought comes crashing into my mind. This is the last spring I may see. This is the last summer. It can't be. There must be a mistake. They missed a specimen up in the hospital. Some poor person is walking around dying with the false confidence of my prognosis, thinking themselves well. It's a clerical error. Carl, I can't sleep. Do you think they made a mistake?
Come back to sleep.
Carl pulls Anna down on the bed and strokes her brow. They change positions on the bed.
Second stage, anger.
This happened to me. I did my lesson plans faithfully for the past 10 years. I've taught in classrooms without walls, kept up on new audio visual aids. I read Summerhill and I believed it. When the principal assigned me the job of the talent show, and nobody wants to talent show, I pleaded for cafeteria duty, bus duty, but no, I got stuck with a talent show. And those kids put on the best darn show that school has ever seen, which was one of them did this for me. Emily Baker for slugging Johnny McIntosh. Johnny McIntosh, because I sent him home for exposing himself to Susie Higgins. Susie Higgins, because I called her out on her nose picking. Or those Nader twins. I've spent the best years of my life giving to those kids. It's not.
Calm down, sweetie. You're angry. It's only natural to be angry. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says that, but...
What does she know about what it feels like to die? Elizabeth Kubler-Ross can sit on my face.
fourth stage, depression.
Do you think if I let Elizabeth Kubler-Ross sit on my face, I'd get well?
The fourth stage, depression.
Anna, honey, come on, wake up.
Leave me alone.
Come on, sweetie, you've been sleeping all day now, and you slept all yesterday. Do you want to sleep away our last day in France?
Why bother?
You've got to eat something. You've got to fight this for me.
Leave me alone.
The fifth stage, acceptance.
When I'm gone, I want you to find someone.
Let's not talk about me.
No, I want you to. It's important to me to know that you'll be happy and taken care of after when I'm gone.
Please.
I've got to talk about it. We've shared everything else. I want you to know how it feels, what I'm thinking. When I hold your hand and I kiss it, I try to memorize what it looks like, your hand. I wonder if there's any memory in the grave.
And then there's the sixth stage, hope.
How are you feeling?
I feel good today.
Do you feel like traveling?
Yes. It would be nice to see Amsterdam together. We might as well see as much as we can while I'm well.
That's right, sweetie. And maybe you can eat something.
I'm hungry. That's a good sign, don't you think?
That's a wonderful sign. You'll see. You'll feel better when you eat.
Maybe the doctor in Vienna can help.
That's right.
What's drinking a little piss? Can't hurt you.
Right. Who knows? We've got to try.
I'll think of it as European lager.
Golden Heidelberg.
Scene 15.
And as Anna and Carl took the train into Holland, the seductive swaying of the tea train aroused another sensation. Unbeknownst to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, there is a seventh stage for the dying. There is a growing urge to fight the sickness of the body with the health of the body. The seventh stage, lust.
Anna and Carl are seated in a train compartment. Carl holds the stuffed rabbit out to Anna.
Why?
Just take it. Hold it for me, just through customs.
Only if you tell me why.
Oh, don't play games right now. We'll be in deep, deep doo-doo.
You're scaring me.
I'm sorry, sweetie. You're the only one I can trust to hold my rabbit. Trust me. It's important.
And why won't you tell me?
There are some things you're better off not knowing.
Are you smuggling drugs? Jewels?
It's way beyond measure. It's invaluable to me. That's all I'll say. Now, just act normal now.
Passport alsjeblieft. Have you anything to declare?
Yes, Captain. I'm smuggling contraband. I demand to be searched in private.
Excuse me?
Yes, I said, waar is het damenstoilet?
Oh, I thought...
Yes?
The first left. Have a very pleasant stay.
You're very good at this. Very good.
When in Holland, do like the Dutch. Mata Hari was Dutch, you know.
Question sur la dialogue. Est-ce que les hommes hollandais sont comme les Français? Are Dutchmen like the French?
Anna and a little Dutch boy at age 50. He wears traditional wooden shoes, trousers, and a vest. His Buster Brown haircut and hat make him look dissipated.
Kirmes time, it's a festival in my village, and I had too much beer with my school friends, Piet and Jean. Yeah. So, Piet thought we should go out to the dike with cans of spray paint after the Kirmes. So we went. Here in Brabant, there is 3 walls of defenses against the cruelty of the North Sea. The first dike is called the Wecker, the Wachter. The second dike is the Sleeper, and the last dike, which has never before been tested, is known as the Drummer, the Dreamer. And when we got to the Dreamer, Piet said to me, "Well, you did it," meaning I was to write on the world of the Dreamer. That is why I was always in trouble in school. Piet and John would say, "Will you do it?" And whatever it was, I would do it. So I took up a can of the paint and in very big letters read in the Dutch that our schoolmaster, Mijnheer van Deurne, was a gas passer. Everyone could read the letters from far away, and just as I was finishing this, Piet and Jan were laughing behind me. I looked. I was on my knees, pressed up against the dike, and I could see that the wall of the Dreamer was cracking its surface. Very fine little lines, like a goose egg, when it breaks from within. And I yelled at my friends, "Look!" And they came a bit closer, and as I looked right above my head, a little hole began to make its way through the clay. And there was just a small trickle of water. And Jan said, "William, put your thumb in the hole." And by that time, the hole in the dike was just big enough to put my thumb in. "Why?" I asked of Jan. "Just do it," he said. And I did. And once I put my thumb in, I could not get it out. Suddenly, we could hear the waves crashing as the sleeper began to collapse. Only the Dreamer remained to hold off the savage water. "Help me!" I called to Jan and Piet. But they ran away. "Look!" I cried. But no one could hear me, and I stayed there, crouching, with my thumb stuck into the clay, and as I thought, what if the Dreamer should give in too? How the waves would bear my body like a messenger to the village. How no one could survive the flood. Only the church steeple would remain to mark the spots where we had lived. How young we were to die. Have you ever imagined what it would be like to be face to face with death?
Yes, I have.
And have you ever prayed for deliverance against all hope?
No, I haven't been able to get to that stage yet.
But the Dreamer held. Finally, there came wagons with men from the village holding lanterns and sand and straw. And they found me there, strung up by my thumb, beside the big black letters, Mijnheer van Deurne is in Gaspasser. And they freed me and said I was a hero, and I became the boy who held back the sea with his thumb.
Golly, you were very brave.
I was stupid. Wrong place, wrong time.
How long ago did this happen?
Well, let us just say it happened a long time ago.
You've faced death. I wish my brother were here to meet you.
Where is he? Where is dein brother?
Oh, he stayed in Amsterdam to see the Rijksmuseum and the Van Gogh Museum.
You did not go? You should see them. They are really fantastic.
Why? What's the use? I won't remember them. I'll have no memory.
So, you are an American?
Yes.
So, do you want to sleep with me? Women Trilliston gone to sleep with the little Dutch boy who put his thumb in the dike.
Do you mind so much?
It's a way to make a living, is it not?
Let's go then.
Scene 17.
Répétez en français. Where is my brother going? Où va mon frère? Bien.
I had just returned from my day trip and left the Central station. The sun sparkled on the waters of the canal, and I decided to walk back to the hotel. Just then I saw my brother. I tried to catch up with Carl, dodging bicycles and pedestrians, and then crossing the Amstel on the Margaret Berg. He appeared. The third man enters a trench coat, sunglasses, and with black gloves, holding a stuffed rabbit. I trailed them from a discreet distance.
The third man and Carl walk rapidly, not glancing at each other. Carl stops. The third man stops a few paces behind. Carl walks. The third man walks. Carl stops. The third man stops. Finally, they face each other and meet. Quickly, looking surreptitiously around, Carl and the third man stroke each other's stuffed rabbits. They quickly part and walk off in opposite directions, but not before the third man attempts to grab Carl's rabbit and run. Anna rushes, looking in both directions.
I tried to follow the man in the trench coat and crossed him over the Amstel, but I lost sight of him in the crowd of men wearing trench coats and sunglasses. I want some answers from my brother. Whatever trouble he's in, he has to share it with me. I want some answers back at the hotel. He's going to talk.
Scene 18.
Question sur le dialogue. You must learn. C'est müssen lernen.
Carl?
Anna enters
Carl?
the empty hotel room. On the bed, propped up on the pillows, lies the stuffed rabbit.
Carl? Carl? Are you back? Carl?
You were not permitted to play with dolls. Dolls are for girls. You played with your sister's dolls until your parents found out. They gave you a stuffed animal. A thin line was drawn. Rabbits were an acceptable surrogate for little boys. You named him Jojo. You could not sleep without him. Jojo traveled with you to the seashore, to the hotel in New York City when you were 7, to your first summer camp. He did not have the flaxen plastic hair of your sister's Betsy Wetsy, but he had long, furry hairs, soft white on one side, pink satin on the inside. He let you stroke them. He never betrayed you. He taught you to trust in contact. You will love him forever.
My brother moves toward the stuffed rabbit. My brother left you behind, did he? Alone at last. Okay, Bunny, now you're going to talk. I want some answers. What have you got that's so important?
Just as Anna reaches for the stuffed rabbit, the third man, in a trench coat, sunglasses, and black gloves, steps out of the room. Into the room.
Wouldn't do that if I were you.
Anna
Now
screams.
Listen, where is your brother? I have a message for him. Tell him he's running out of time. Understand? Good. He's better not try to do us. We're willing to arrange a swap. His sister for the rabbit. Tell him we're waiting for him in Vienna. And tell him he better bring the rabbit to the other side.
The third man disappears. Anna, shaken, sits on the bed and holds the stuffed rabbit. She strokes it for comfort. Carl enters in a frenzy. He carries his stuffed rabbit. Anna stares as Carl tosses the decoy rabbit away.
Don't ask me any questions. I can't tell you what's happening. Are you able to travel? Good. We have to leave Amsterdam tonight. There's a train in an hour. We'll go to Germany. Are you packed?
Scene 19.
Anfahrt der nächste Zug nach Hamburg.
Ah, Saxony, Bavaria, the Black Forest, the Rhineland. I love them all. I think perhaps now would be a good time to show them the slides.
I'm so sorry. I hate it when people do this to me.
Nonsense. People like to see slides of other people's trip. These are in no particular order. We'll only show a few just to give a taste of the German countryside.
Carl took over 2 hours worth of slides.
If you'll just dim the lights, please.
The third man wheels in the projector and operates it throughout the travelogue.
Well, Bonn is as good a place to start as anywhere. This is the view from the snug little hotel we stayed in, the gateway to the Rhine, the birthplace of Beethoven, and the resting place of Schumann.
Slide, the view of downtown Baltimore from the Ramada Inn near Johns Hopkins Hospital, overlooking the industrial harbor.
Looks a lot like Baltimore to me.
My sister jests. As you can see on the slide, one night we splurged and stayed at a rather dear inn near the Dressenhofs Mountains, where Lord Byron had sported.
Slide, a close-up of the balcony railing looking into the Ramada Inn hotel room.
This is the room I slept in while I stayed with my brother Carl.
Slide, gutted ruins of inner-city Baltimore near the Jones Fall Expressway. Rubble and obvious urban blight.
Alas, poor Cologne, practically wiped out by airplane raids during World War II, and yet, out of this destruction, the Cathedral of Cologne managed to survive. One of the most beautiful Gothic churches in the world, with a superb altar painted by the master artist of Cologne, Stefan Lochner.
Slide,
An
impoverished church storefront, a black evangelical sect in Baltimore.
Let's see now, what do we have next?
A Sabret's holding cart with its blue and orange umbrella in front of Johns Hopkins Hospital.
Ah, yes, let's talk about the food. Whereas I snapped mementos of the regal pines of the Black Forest, Anna insisted on taking photos of everything she ate.
I can remember things, I feel.
Well, let's talk about the food. Germany has a more robust gustatory outlook than the delicate palate of France. The Germans positively celebrate the pig from snout to tail. I could not convince Anna to sample the Skulperkaken, which is the Reango concoction of ears, snout, tail, and feet.
Ugh.
Slide, a close-up of a vendor placing a hot dog on a bun and lathering it with mustard. There is canned sodas in a wide variety.
And of course, everything is washed down with beer.
Slide, Anna sipping a Bud Light.
It was delicious.
Well, enough of food. May we talk about culture, Sister dear? Next slide, please.
Slide, the Maryland National Armory, the state penitentiary.
Ah, Heidelberg, dueling scars and castles, spectacular rooms, which serves as a locale for open-air concerts and fireworks.
Slide, the Baltimore smokestack.
And by a quaint cable car, you can reach the peak of Königstuhl, 2,000 feet high, with its breathtaking view of the valley.
Slide, the Bromo Seltzer Tower in Baltimore. Slide, the interstate highways viewed from the tower.
Every cobblestone street, every alleyway was so pristine and clean.
Slide, the row houses on Monument Street. Slide, a corridor of Johns Hopkins Hospital outside the basement laboratories.
Wasn't it, Anna?
Yes, sterile.
Slide, a hospital aide washing the floor.
Even the Black Forest looked swept. We splurged once again and stayed at the Waldhorn Post here, outside of Wildbad.
Slide, exterior of Johns Hopkins Hospital.
The hotel dates back to 1145. The chef there is renowned for his game dishes.
Slide, Anna in front of a vending machine dispensing wrapped sandwiches in the Johns Hopkins Hospital cafeteria.
I wasn't too hungry.
I was ravenous.
Slides, Route 95 outside the harbor tunnel. The large toll signs are visible.
Let's see, the romantic road, the Romantische Strasse, a trek through picture book Bavaria, and the Algo Alpan, Fussen de Würzburg.
Honey, perhaps they've seen enough. It's hard to sit through this many.
Wait, just one more. They've got to see Neuschwanstein, built by Mad King Ludwig II. It's so rococo, it's Las Vegas.
Slide, the castle at Disneyland.
I believe that Ludwig was reincarnated in the 20th century as Liberace. Wait a moment. That's not the castle.
Yes, it is.
It looks like... How did it get here?
I don't know which castle you're referring to, but it's definitely a castle.
Slide, a close-up of the castle with a large Mickey Mouse in the picture.
That's not funny, Anna. Are you making fun of me?
Don't get upset.
Slide, Donald Duck has joined Mickey Mouse with tourists.
I went to Europe. I walked through Bavaria and the Black Forest. I combed through the Neuschwanstein. I did these things, and I will remember the beauty of it all my life. I don't appreciate your mockery.
It's just a little.
You went through Germany on your back. All you remember are hotel ceilings. You can show them your Germany.
He rushes off angry.
Sometimes my brother gets upset for no apparent reason. Some wires crossing his brain, and he's... I'm sorry. Lights, please.
Third man wheels the projector off stage.
Would anyone like to show you my impression of Germany? They were something like this.
Scene 20. In Munich, Anna is under the sheet beside the Munich Virgin, who is very young.
Are you comfortable?
Ja, danke.
Good. Have you been the bellhop here for a long time?
Very long time. My father owns the hotel and says I must learn and work very hard. Soon I will be given the responsibility of the front desk.
My, that's exciting. Are you cold?
Nein, just a kleine nervous. My English not so very good.
Is this your first time? You always remember your first time. I'm very honored. Listen, I'm a school teacher. May I tell you something? A little lesson. When you're a much older man and you've loved many women, you'll be a wonderful lover if you're just a little bit nervous like you are right now. Because it was always be the first time.
You are a very nice woman.
The human body is a wonderful thing, like yours, like mine. The beauty of the body heals all the sicknesses, all the bad things that happen to it. And I really want you to feel this, because if you feel it, you'll remember it. And then maybe you'll remember me.
Scene 21. Anna and the Munich Virgin rise. Carl gets into the bed with his stuffed rabbit. Anna gets ready to leave.
Conjugations of the verb verlassen, to leave, to abandon, to forsake. The present tense.
Are you leaving me alone?
Yes, just for a little while. I need to take a walk. I'm restless. It's perfectly safe.
Okay, sweetie, don't be too long. Buddy and I are ready for bed.
I won't stay out long. I'll be right back.
The future tense of the verb verlassen.
Will you be leaving me alone again tonight? I'm ready for bed.
I will be leaving you alone, just for a little while.
Who will it be tonight? The bellhop, the desk clerk, or the maitre d'?
Don't be mean. You said you didn't make judgments.
I don't. I just want to spend time with you.
I'll be back for time for a bedtime story.
The past tense of the verb verlassen.
Again? Again, you left me alone last night and the night before.
I can't help it. I've been a good girl for the past 30 years. Now I want to make up for lost time.
And what am I supposed to do while you're out traipsing around with every Thomas, Dieter, or Henrik?
Hug Bunny.
Ah!
There are three moods of the verb verlassen. The indicative, the imperative, and the subjunctive. Anna and Carl are never in the same mood.
Leave me alone.
Carl, don't be like that.
Why? Why? It doesn't matter what I want. You're going to leave.
Uh, I never stay out very long.
All I can say is that if this establishment charges us for room service, they've got some nerve.
I've got to take what opportunities come along.
I wish you wouldn't go.
Please understand, I don't have much time. I spend as much time with you as I can. But while I still have my health, please.
Scene 22.
As children, they fought.
We never fought, really.
Not in a physical way. He was a sickly child.
She was very willful.
No roughhousing, but he knew all of my weak points, my secret openings. He could be ruthless.
She'd cry at the slightest thing.
He had a very sharp tongue.
But when one of you is very, very sick, you can't fight it. It's not fair. You've got to hold it in. We never fight.
But we had a doozy in the hotel room in Berlin.
Well, and even though you're sick, I have the right to get angry.
We'd been traveling too long. We were cranky. The rooms were closing in.
I'm just saying that we should spend a little more time together. I don't get to see you alone enough. You're always restless.
Fine. You go out without me for a change.
I'm going out for a walk.
I don't care.
When she was little, this would be the time I'd bribe her with a comic book or an ice cream. I always had pennies saved up for those little contingencies.
But sometimes, for the sake of my pride, I would be inconsolable. I would rush off and then feel just awful alone. Why didn't I take the bribe? I'm going out.
But sometimes, for the sake of her pride,
That's
I would
my
be
line.
inconsolable. Oh, I'm sorry. Ed.
Said it already, but I'll say it again. But sometimes, for the sake of my pride, I would be inconsolable. I would rush off and then feel just awful alone. Why didn't I take the bribe? I'm going out.
To fuck?
No, dear. The passive voice is used to emphasize the subject, to indicate the truth of the generalization. I'm going out to get fucked.
Yeah. Scene 23. Kurt Weill on music. Anna goes over to a small cabaret table. There's a telephone on the table. The radical student activist sits at another identical table, smoking, watching her.
I'm going to enjoy Berlin without him. I'll show him. I'm going to be carefree, totally without scruples. I'll pretend I've never taught first graders. I'm going to have a perfectly miserable time.
The radical student activist picks up the telephone. The telephone at Anna's table rings.
Oh my goodness, my miserable time is calling me. Yes?
You alone, Fräulein?
Well, actually, yes, I am.
Gut. Du willst mal Rechtag durchgefickt werden? Ja?
I'm sorry, I don't speak a word of German.
Yeah, even better. I said, would you like to get fucked?
Do you always come on to a single woman like that?
Oh. Would you like it better if I brought home 12 drinks with umbrellas? Told you that the stories of how hard a time my parents had during the war? Tell you how exciting I find foreign women? How they are real women, not like the pale northern Mädchen here at home. I'm absolutely bourgeois.
I see. Why do you come here?
I don't come here for the overpriced drinks. I come here because of the bored Western women who come here, who leave their tired businessman husbands in the hotel rooms behind.
You're cute, in a hostile way.
Fucking is a revolutionary act.
Your hotel or my hotel?
Scene 24. In the hotel room, Anna, awake, lies in the middle of the bed. To her left, Carl sleeps curled up. To her right, the radical student activist, curled up on her breast, slumbers. Anna is awake with an insomniacal desperation.
2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16, 16 and 16 are 32.
Where is thy toilette?
In lovemaking, he's all fury and heat, his North Sea pounding against your dreamer. And when you look up and see his face, red and huffing, it's hard to imagine him ever having been a newborn, tiny, wrinkled, and 7 pounds. That is, until afterwards, when he rises from sleep and he walks into the bathroom, and there he exposes his soft little derriere, and you can still see the soft baby flesh.
The radical student comes back into the room.
I've got to put a name to that behind. What's your name? Wie heißen Sie?
If we design, next thing, you ask for my telephone number?
No, I won't. I was just curious.
Ja, then my sign of the zodiac. I'll get cards from Ermark and little scribblings like I never forget the night you shared.
Forget it.
There's something radical in two complete strangers committing biological necessity without having to give into bourgeois conventions of love, without breeding to produce workers for a capitalist system, without the benediction of the church, the family, the bosses.
I have something to confess to you. I lied to you.
But what?
I'm not here on business. I don't specialize in corporate takeovers. I don't work on Wall Street. I only told you that because I thought that was what you wanted to hear.
Okay. So you do estate planning? Income tax?
No. You just committed a revolutionary act with a first grade school teacher who lives in low-income housing. And I'm tired. I think you should go.
And your husband?
Too loud. And he's not my husband. He's my brother. A maiden librarian for the San Francisco Public.
The radical student activist starts to leave.
But by the way, the missionary position is not a revolutionary maid.
The radical student activist leaves. Anna, depressed, lies down. Carl rises from the bed. Scene 25.
As she lay in the bed sleepless, it swept over her, and the way her classroom smelled early in the morning before the children came in, it smelled of chalk dust.
Smelled of Crayola wax, crushed purple and green.
The cedar of hamster cage shavings.
The sweet wintergreen of the pages paste.
The wooden smell of the thick construction paper.
The spillings of sticky orange drink and sour milk.
And
And
the insidious smell
of
the first grader
pea.
pea. It smelled like heaven.
The first thing I did each morning was put up the weather map for today on the board under the flag. A bright, smiling sun or Miss Cloud or Mr. Umbrella. On the special days, I put up Susie Snowflake. And when I opened my desk drawers, scattered like diamonds, on the bottom were red, silver, and gold stars. I want to go home. Carl, I want to go home.
Soon, sweetie, very soon.
I've had enough. I've seen all of the world I want to see. I want to wake up in my own bed. I want to sit with you at home and we'll watch the weather and we'll wait.
We've come so far, we have to at least go to Vienna. Do you think you can hold out long enough to meet Dr. Todescolin? That a girl. I promise you don't have to undertake his hydrotherapy unless you decide to. I have a friend in Vienna, a college chum who might be able to get us some of the black market stuff. It's worth a shot.
And you take me home?
Then I'll take you home.
Scene 26. Music, a song from The Third Man. Carl and Anna stand with their luggage in front of a door buzzer.
First, we'll just look up Harry. Then we'll cab over to Dr. Todescolin.
Carl rings the buzzer, they wait. Carl rings the buzzer again, they wait. An aging concierge comes out.
Entering, wir suchen Harry Lime. Do you speak English?
Nein, ich spreche kein Englisch.
Herr Lime, do you know him? Herr Harry Lime.
Ach, ja, Herr Harry Lime. You come to spat.
He's gone to spat?
For the museum to spat. It is that.
What?
Ja, ein Orson mit Harry Splatzmarken auf der Straße. Splatz.
Splatz?
Splats?
It dawns on Carl and Anna what the concierge is saying.
Ah, ja, geht über die Straße und ein Auto. Splatz.
Oh my God.
Ja, hat auch eine Rabbit. Herr Rabbit sagt Splatz. They liegen ein Grab und den Boden. Jetzt.
Now? You saw this happen?
Ja, ich saw it mit meinen Augen. Splatz. Splitzen über alles.
Listen, darling, I want to take a cab to the doctor's office.
Where are you going?
Ich will las. I'll find out what happened to Harry.
I wish you wouldn't leave.
I'll come back, okay?
Scene 27. Anna climbs in onto a table and gathers a white paper sheet around her. She huddles.
Some things are the same in every country. You're scared when you see the doctor. Here in Vienna, just like in Baltimore, and they hand you the same paper cup to fill, just like in America. And you climb up onto the same cold metal table, and they throw a sheet around you, and you feel very small. And just like at home, they tell you to wait, and you wait.
Scene 28. On the Ferris wheel in the Prater, Carl holds the stuffed rabbit closely.
Well, why are we meeting here?
Have you looked at the view from up here? It's quite inspiring. No matter how old I get, I always love the Ferris wheel.
I just came from your funeral.
Touched, old man. Was it a nice funeral?
What are you doing?
It's best not to ask too many questions. The police were beginning to do that. It's extremely convenient now and then in a man's career to die. I've gone underground, so if you want to meet me, you have to come here. No one asks questions here.
Can you help us?
Where is your sister? She left you alone?
She needs a rest. You were my closest friend in college.
Straight with you. I can give you the drugs, but it won't help. It won't help at all. Your sister's better off with that quack, Tortoise. We call him the Yellow Queen of Vienna. She might end up drinking her own piss, but it won't kill her.
But I thought you had the drugs.
Oh, I do. And they cost a pretty penny. For a price, I can give them to you at a discount for old times. But you have to know, we make them up in my kitchen.
Jesus.
Why not? People will pay for these things. When they're desperate, people will eat peach pits or aloe or egg protein. They'll even drink their own piss.
How can you do this?
Listen, old man, if you want to be a millionaire, you go into real estate. If you want to be a billionaire, you sell hope. Nowadays, the only place a fellow can make a decent career of it is in Mexico and Europe.
That's disgusting.
Look, I thought you weren't going to be sentimental about this. It's a business. You have to have the right perspective, like from up here. The people down on the street are just tiny little dots. And if you could charge $1,000, wouldn't you push the drugs? I could use a friend I can trust to help me.
But we were at John Hopkins together. I thought you were God. You hypnotized us into doing anything, and it would seem charming. Carl, old man, you'd say, just do it. Cutting classes, cribbing exams, shoplifting, stupid undergraduate things. And I would do it without knowing the consequences. I would do it.
Oh, you knew the consequences, old man. You knew. You chose not to think about them.
I've grown up old before my time from the consequences. I'm turning you in.
I would do that, old man.
Harry pats a bulge in the inside of his dress coat.
By the time you hit the ground, you'll be just a tiny little dot. And I think you have something I want. The rabbit, Bitte.
No, you're not getting it. I'm taking it with me.
Harry pulls his arms in position for a waltz and begins to sway seductively.
Give it up. Come to my arms, my only one. Dance with me, my beloved, my sweet.
Carl takes the stuffed rabbit and threatens to throw it out of the window of the Ferris wheel. A Strauss waltz plays very loudly, and Harry and Carl waltz struggle for the rabbit. Carl is pushed, and Harry Lime waltzes off with the rabbit. Scene 29. Meanwhile, back at Dr. Totis Rochelle.
You begin to hope that the weight is proportionate to the medical expertise. My God, my feet are turning blue. Where am I? An HMO? The problem with being an adult is that you never forget why you're waiting. When I was a child, I could wait blissfully, unaware for hours. I used to read signs and transpose letters, count tiles in the floor. And in the days before I could read, I would make up stories about my hands. Mr. Left and Mr. Right. Mr. Left would provoke Mr. Right, and Mr. Right would ignore it. The trouble would escalate until my hands were battling with each other, and then one of them would weep. Finally, they became friends again, and they'd dance.
And his hands dance together. She is unaware that Doctor has entered and is watching her. He clears his throat. He wears a very dirty lab coat with pockets filled with paper and a stale donut. He wears a white fright wig and glasses. He also wears one sinister black glove. With relish, he carries a flask of golden liquid.
Oh, thank goodness.
Ah, so happy to meet you. Such an interesting specimen. I congratulate you. Very, very interesting.
Thank you.
We must have many more such specimens from you for the urinocryoscopy, the uranometer, the urinoglucosometer, the uracidometer, urozotometer, and my new experiment in the laboratorium ein Europhosphometer.
My goodness.
Doctor has put the flask down on a table. Quietly, his left hand reaches for it. The right hand stops the left.
Yeah. Nowadays, we have learned to discover the uncharted mysteries of the fluids discharged through the urethra. We have been so primitive in the past. Doctors once could only analyze by taste and smell, but thanks to the advancement of medical science, there are no limits to our thirst for knowledge.
Uh-huh.
The doctor's left hand seizes the flask. Trembling with authority, his right hand replaces the flask on the table and soothes the left hand into quietude.
So much data has been needlessly, carelessly destroyed in the past. The medical collections of Raven's book, sensitively annihilated. That is why, as a scientist, I must be exacting in our measurements and recordings.
What can I hope to find out from these specimens?
Yes, the layman must have his due. Too much pure research and no application makes Jacques, a Fräulein Anna. I may call you Fräulein Anna. Let us look at the body as an alchemist looking in straw and mud and Schweinefleisch and processing it into liquid gold which purifies the body. You may say the sickness of the body can only be cured by the health of the body. To your health!
His left hand seizes the flask in a salute and raises the flask to his lips. In time, the right hand brings the flask down. A brief struggle. It appears the flask might spill, but at last the right hand triumphs.
You know, even though I really grew up in the suburbs of Baltimore, I like to think of myself as an open-minded person.
Ancient Greeks knew that the aromatic properties of the fluid could reveal the imbalances of the soul itself.
The left hand sneaks toward the flask.
I'm always very eager to try new foods or see the latest John Waters film.
Use in the purification rites of the Aztecs is, of course, so well known that it need not be mentioned.
The hand has grasped the flask and begins to inch it off the table.
And whenever I meet someone who cross-dresses, I always compliment him on his shoes or his earrings.
This is the first golden drops that marks the infant's identity separate from the womb.
The hand has slipped the flask beneath the table. His right hand is puzzled.
But still, it's important to know where your threshold is, and I think we're coming dangerously close to mine.
Is the last precious amber releases the soul from the body, ashes to ashes, drop to drop. Excuse me.
His left hand with the flask swings into an arc behind his body. He swivels his body to the flask, his back turned to us. We can hear him drink in secrecy. His back turned. He orders himself composed. He turns around to face Anna again and demurely sets the flask down. Its level is noticeably lower. Anna is aghast.
I can sense your concern. I have been prattling on without regard to questions. You must surely have.
Is that your real hair?
Of course. I cannot promise results, but first, we must proceed by securing more samples.
I don't believe that's your real hair.
I will need first of all 24 hours of your time for a urinometry.
You look familiar to me.
So I can tell from the first test that your urinoria level is high, not unpleasantly so. So, but full-bodied.
Oh my God. I think I know who you are. You're...
Anna rises to snatch his toupee. Doctor suddenly stands, menacing, and the light changes.
Where is dein Bruder?
He takes off his wig and glasses, appearing as the doctor in the first scene. peeling off the black glove to reveal latex gloves underneath.
You fool! You left your brother in the room alone? Who is dein brother?
The Emperor Waltz plays at a very loud volume. Anna, frightened, races from the doctor's office to the hotel room. We see Carl lying stiff beneath a white sheet. To the tempo of the Strauss, Anna tries to wake him. He does not respond. Anna takes off the sheet and forces him into a sitting position, the stuffed rabbit clenched beneath his arm. Carl remains sitting, stiff, eyes open, wooden. He is still in his pajamas. He then slumps. Anna raises him again. He remains upright for a beat and then begins to fall. Anna stops him, presses his body against hers, pulls his legs over the bed, tries to stand him up. Frozen, his body tilts against hers. She tries to wake him across the floor. His arms are around his neck. She positions him in a chair, but his legs are locked in a perpendicular angle and will not touch the floor. She presses his legs to the floor. He mechanically springs forward. Then suddenly, like the doll in E.T.A. Hoffman, the body of Carl becomes animated, but with a strange automatic life of its own. Carl begins to waltz with Anna. Gradually, he winds down and, faltering, falls back to the bed. There is a sound of a loud alarm clock. The doctor enters and covers Carl with a sheet. Then he pulls a white curtain in front of the scene as the stage lights become, for the first time, harsh, stark, and white. Scene 30. In the hospital lounge, the doctor holds the stuffed rabbit and travel brochures in his hands. He awkwardly peels off his latex gloves.
Sorry, there was nothing we could do.
Yes, I know.
I thought you might want to take this along with you.
There you are. Oh, it's Jojo, my brother's childhood rabbit. I brought it to the hospital as a little surprise. I thought it might make him feel better.
Sometimes little things become important when nothing else will help.
Yes. At least Carl went in his sleep. I guess that's a blessing.
If one has to die from a particular disease, there are worse ways to go than pneumonia.
I never would believe what sickness can do to the body. Well, doctor, I want to thank you for all you've done for my brother.
I wish I could do more. Oh, by the way, housekeeping found these brochures in your brother's bedside table. I didn't know if they were important.
Oh, yes, the brochures for Europe. I've never been abroad. We're going to go if when it gets. I must learn to use the past tense. We would have gone had he gotten better.
Anna, may I call you Anna? If there's anything I can do.
Thank you, but there's nothing you can do.
I mean, I really would like it if you'd call me for coffee, or if you just want to talk about all this.
You're very sweet, but no, I don't think so. Not now. I feel it's simply not safe for me right now to see anyone. Thanks again, and goodbye.
Anna starts to exit. The doctor, wistful, watches her go. The lighting begins to change back to the dreamy atmosphere of the first scene. Softly, a Strauss waltz begins. Carl, perfectly well, waits for Anna. He is dressed in Austrian military regalia. They waltz off as the lights dim. End of play.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, David, that was wonderful.
Didn't know I